Wood Prepper here. Today we've got more news on the nuclear side of things. You know, I really didn't want this channel to just be a doom and gloom channel. I wanted to do more with it than just talk about the bad things that are going on in the world. But it appears that right as I made this channel, things started to get pretty bad. Right as I decided to go ahead and put this channel out, which was about 2 weeks ago, I think, things just really started ratcheting us. I mean, things were already bad, which is why I decided to make the channel in the first place. Things were already bad, but things started getting worse as soon as I made the channel. Like, this whole nuclear talk just started getting worse and worse and worse. And now I feel like I'm doing more news reporting more on news than anything else on this channel. So there's that. But apparently we've got more talks about the nuclear side of things. Apparently Putin and one of his allies were talking about how the advantages of a nuclear strike on opposing forces. Like, I forget exactly what the article was about. I'll post it, so I'll put it up there so you can see it, what the headline was. But it was something that had to do with Putin and the advantages of doing a nuclear strike first. And that's kind of what we talked about last time on this channel, was the advantages of people of the opposing force doing a nuclear strike first, and that whoever does that is pretty much the victor. And then this morning I woke up and I saw the article. So yeah, this whole nuclear talk is now just blatantly in the news. Like, they're not even trying to hide it. You know, like back in the day, and even still, they would try to, if it was like there was a nuclear threat, they'd try to, hint at it, but they would try to hide it so that nobody panicked, so that there wouldn't be all the panic and hysteria in the news. But now they're just putting it out there. Like, they don't care. They don't care that the public is seeing this. They don't care that they're just fear-mongering. They don't care now. So that's something to consider. That all this nuclear talk is now just in the news. It's a part of daily news source now. Now if you go and read the news, well, depending on what you like in the news, a lot of people only get news about celebrities and that dumb side of things. But now, depending on who you are, something about a nuclear strike is inevitably going to be in your news feed. It's inevitably going to be talked about in the war side of things now. First it was just, bombshells and how many people had died over in Ukraine and all that good stuff. Now it's just like they're talking about this nuclear stuff full on. They're making a show out of it. So this is something that we should, us as preppers, as warriors, should be concerned about. This is something that we should take into stock. This is something that we should say, yeah, they're talking about it. What does it mean? Why should we be concerned about it? Why should we talk about it? And why should we plan for the event that it should go down? Why should we plan for the event that a nuclear strike should happen somewhere? Well, it's as simple as this. We should plan for it because it likely could happen. I'm not saying that it will happen, but the chance is above a 50-50 chance. You've got two nations at war. You've got other nations on the outside that have nothing to do with the nations that are at war, threatening the two nations that are at war, threatening one side, not both of them, threatening one side of the two nations that are at war. And the nation that is at war with the other has nuclear power. And the nation that is outside, threatening the other nation, has nuclear power as well. Either both of them are just bluffing, and they have no intentions of using nuclear weapons, or they're not. And if they're not joking, and they actually do mean what they say, then there's only one way that can go. Nuclear weapons will be used. I'll try and make that a little clearer what I just said. We have Russia going against Ukraine. We have China and this whole Taiwan thing now. Russia has repeatedly talked about neutralizing the US as a threat by simply nuking some military bases, nuking the nuclear plants that they have on their records. This has been talked about by Russia. The US has hinted at doing the same thing to Russia. Not half as vulgarly as Russia has to the US, but they both hinted at it. Now, either they're both just bluffing, and they have no intentions of using a nuclear weapon, they have no intentions of going nuclear with the whole thing, or they're not. And if they're not bluffing, this is the part where it gets kind of serious. Either they're not bluffing. If they're not bluffing, then there's a 70% chance, 75 I'd say percent chance, that somewhere in the near future, around the closing of fall, I think, we could see a nuclear strike. Whether in the US, wow, the woods are so beautiful out here. Whether in the US, or in Russia, or even in Ukraine. But it's quite possible. It's quite possible that we could see a nuclear strike. Because here's the deal with these wars and all this stuff. None of these countries or these nations want to fight in winter. None of them want to have a winter battle. Winter battle means slow fuel, slow tanks. Your tanks don't do as well because the ground is all soft or hard. Your men are cold out there. They're not performing like they should. Your soldiers perform a lot better in the heat, even though it's uncomfortable. They perform a lot better in the heat than they do in the cold. Supplies are slow because nothing grows in winter. All this stuff has to be considered, and they do consider it. They have considered it. So they're both getting to the point of, Russia and Ukraine are both getting to the point of, well, this needs to end soon. This needs to start ratcheting down, because we started at the beginning. We started at the end of winter, and we don't want to carry this on back into winter. The US is still in the game, and Russia knows this. So either we're just bluffing about all this nuclear stuff, and we're not going to see any nuclear war, or they were being serious, and we could see a nuclear strike in the next few months. Preppers, warriors, we should be ready for this. We should be thinking about this. We should have preps in place for such an event. We should not be sitting down and just watching it and hoping for the best and hoping, well, I hope Russia doesn't nuke Ukraine, because I hope Russia doesn't nuke the US, because if it does, I'll be in a pretty bad standing. I guess I'll have to start depending on the government again. No, that's not where we should be. We should let's take this moment as the time to reset. Let's make the whole resetting of everything our reset as well. Let's make it our own. If they do a nuclear strike and the cities go down and the electricity is no longer as available as it was, and things just aren't the way they were, take that opportunity and set yourself up as your own sovereign nation. Now, I know a lot of you are going to say that's impossible. You're still in the US. You've got to abide by the rules. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't abide by the US rules either way. I don't. I drive, of course. Got to stop at the stop signs, go at the green lights, all that good stuff. But as far as everything else, come on, guys. We're in America. Home of the free. Time to make this our own. Let's create something that we can use from this. Create something that our children will have. Let's not let our children's legacy, let's not let our children's happiness and our children's future depend on what the government does, on if Russia is gonna send a nuke or what. Regardless of if Russia sends a nuke or not, We need to have a plan for our children. We need to have a plan for our households. We need to have a plan for our own lives. That's my point. That's the direction I think all of us should head. If the world should be destroyed and all that we held dear taken from us, and we're left in a world of wilderness and darkness and cloud, left to hunt for our food and grow our gardens for our food, and that's it. That's our living. Create a network. Let's create something that our children can use. Let's do that. We have the opportunity now. The opportunity might not last very long to get ready. The opportunity, because I want to say this. Being a prepper is an opportunity. It's an opportunity that shouldn't be taken lightly. Because if you don't start now, if you're not ready, you can't be a prepper after the chips have already fallen. You can't be a prepper. You can't start being a prepper once the chips have fallen. The opportunity is now. If you don't start now, you've missed your window. If you don't start now, you won't be able to start, and you'll be dependent on the government. Either you'll die with nothing, or you'll be taken into one of their government facilities after everything has gone down, and you'll have to live by their rules. So, the opportunity is now. Start now. Alright, warriors. Start of the heat. It's been a beautiful day here. It's raining. The weather's not too hot. Normally if I'm wearing this, it's because it's either raining or cold. So, yeah, it's been a beautiful day. I hope we get more days like this around here. Start of the heat. Keep prepping. I'll see you in the line of battle.